Hey, hi everyone. Welcome back to one another amazing podcast. So this is one of the greatest podcasts. So we have here very special guest, Dr. Sandeep Shukla sir. So I don't think so we need to give any introduction for sir, but let me just introduce few things about Dr. Sandeep Shukla sir. Sandeep Shukla sir is a director at IIIT Hyderabad. So this itself is a great, I must say, the opportunity for me to interact with sir. And similarly, with whatever we follow the practice for other podcasts. So this podcast gonna be a much more learning and maybe the long life lessons and experience you wanna get. So keep your notes handy, guys. So at the same time, we'll keep it, we'll keep our key points, we'll note it down and then uh, just try to implement in your life as well. Okay. So, sir, very first, thank you so much for giving your precious time. I know
Thank you
that you
for
have a
calling me.
yeah, sure, sir. Yes. You are leading multiple things. I just gone through your LinkedIn profile. You are doing CDAC member governance body and NPCI's different place governing body. Sir, very first question before your introduction, how you manage all those things, multiple roles at the same time?
Yeah, so actually, those roles as members of governing council or technology committee or cybersecurity risk committee, etc. They are not full-time jobs. Like they happen, once in 2 months or once in 3 months. There is a meeting that often can be attended online, or sometimes we go offline also to Bombay or some place. And
Okay, sir.
often they send the agenda papers ahead of time. Sometimes they would also have a call for a subcommittee meeting. So it is not like a full-time job to become be members of various committees or boards or councils.
Amazing,
Yeah,
sir.
but you have to keep track of all the timing, and you have to
Hmm.
make sure that they are not conflicting with each other. So those kind
Right.
of things often are becomes a little bit of a problem. But in general, as such, it's not like I'm doing it every day.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Now, one short introduction. If you won't mind, can you please give me your introduction, like what currently you are doing in your day-to-day life and what you are up to? Sure, sir.
Well, in August this year, last year actually, 2025, I joined IIIT Hyderabad, and I'm the director of IIIT Hyderabad. As a director, I have to make sure that all the different functions that the institute has to execute gets executed. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, an institute like this has their main job is to actually educate students, make sure the
Right.
students get their education, their classes are properly done, their learning, their exams are done, their exam results come out in time. So we have a dean of academic affairs who actually is in charge of these, and then we have to also make sure that the students, because it's a residential campus, students are
Mm-hmm.
protected, their health is protected, their hostel
Yeah.
situation is under control. In case there are any issues between students or between student and staff or faculty, those things
Yeah.
are taken care of. Those are taken care of by a dean of students. Then we
Mm-hmm.
have faculty, and faculty new faculty has to be hired, people apply. So you have to make sure that you make sure you make a choice, make them go through the interview process and selection process. Also faculty will go through their own promotions and career development. So for that we have a dean of faculty affairs, and then we
Mm-hmm.
also have a we also have a dean of outreach and alumni affairs, and dean of industrial relations. So that is another important activity, because alumni actually kind of own the institute, right? I mean, we are all
Yes.
here for a short time. We are here, some of us are
Correct.
here for 10 years, some of here 5 years,
Uh-huh.
some are here for 25 years. Eventually will retire or move to the another institute and so on. But alumni
Correct.
is always associated with the institute they studied in. So
Correct.
therefore,
Correct.
alumni, keeping in touch with alumni, ensuring
Hmm.
that alumni feel that they
Hmm.
are, the institute belongs to them. They nurtured the institute. They actually
Hmm.
feel
Hmm.
proud of the institute. So we have
Hmm.
this alumni affairs office. We
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
have industrial outreach, which is basically to keep in touch with the industry, because since we are,
Hmm.
a technology institute, we
Right.
need to know what is happening in the industry.
Right.
And many of our faculty work very directly with the industry. Many students work with the industry, and
Yeah.
eventually, most of the students get jobs in the industry. So we have that. So we have a
Hmm.
combined dean
Hmm. Hmm.
for alumni affairs and industrial relations.
Correct.
And then we have another function, which is very
Hmm.
important one,
Hmm.
which is every faculty in a top tier institute, they have to do research, and they
Hmm.
have to conduct research supervision for PhD students, master students,
Correct. Correct.
even for some undergraduate research in projects, etc. And for
Hmm.
that, they also have to bring in funding by writing research proposals to Department of Science and Technology, Ministry
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
IT and Electronics, or
Hmm.
other organizations, Department of Biotechnology, etc.
Right.
And those
Right.
funds have to be administered properly, governed properly. You cannot
Yeah.
just do anything with the taxpayers' money. So you have to
Correct.
make
Correct.
sure that there is an office which makes sure
Hmm.
that all the expenses on those funds are
Hmm.
are according to the and regulations, and also ensure that the students who are funded for their research position,
Hmm.
or engineers who are funded for those research positions, that get paid in time, this kind of
Correct.
stuff. So this is dean of research. So we have like five
Amazing, sir.
deans
Hmm.
who actually help me execute majority of the institute functions, and I am more or less
Great.
the person who would be eventually responsible and accountable if these things don't get done. So deans
Okay.
basically help me to do that. And then we have
Great,
a
sir.
registrar.
Uh-huh.
Registrar basically is mostly take care of staff recruitment, staff
Hmm.
administration,
Administration's
also
task. Yeah.
finances, budget, uh, procurement. All these
Hmm.
things are under the register. So in some sense, I have kind of distributed the responsibilities across multiple different verticals, and
Hmm.
I have the heads of each of these verticals. But eventually, the buck stops at my desk. If anything goes
Yes.
wrong, I should be able to answer for it. And many
Hmm.
times it does go wrong, and then I have to intervene, and I have to do things and
Yeah.
so on. But
Correct,
I
sir.
also
Hmm.
have to, as a professor, I also have to do
Hmm.
research. I have my own
Oh,
research lab. I have my own team. So I'm
great.
also working on that. And then
Okay.
as an educator, I have to
Haha.
also go to various programs, give talks, or go to panel discussions or policy
Right.
making discussions and so
Correct.
on. So that is obviously extra on top of all these activities related to the institute. So this more or less kind of describes what I'm working on.
So it's like a long list of roles and long list of
Yes.
responsibilities you're handling at the same time, sir. Great. But
Yes.
you had a handful of people who are, structurally helping you, as you have described. You have
Yes.
five different departments, and
Yes.
then they are also managing their respective departments. And you have your
Yes.
own research team as well,
Right.
where you have to do the research
Right.
at the same time,
Yes.
outreaching to the institute's policymakers, and then make sure
Yes.
that there also you are giving your valuable insights and inputs. So I
Right.
have a lot of questions in mind. So we'll start from here. We'll start with your research stuff. So what you're researching on now, sir?
So I my research, last about 12, 13 years, I have been
Oh,
mostly in the area of cybersecurity.
okay.
So when I was in the US for 23 years, and I
Oh,
came back to India in 2015.
Okay.
And before that, I was a faculty in a university which is called Virginia Tech, which is
Ha ha ha.
actually is a university in Blacksburg, Virginia. And
Hmm.
there I co-founded a center for embedded systems for critical
Hmm.
applications. And
Okay.
in that context, I started looking into what are the critical infrastructures, and we had a large project from National Science Foundation on looking into how two critical infrastructures exhibit interdependence, so that one gets attacked or one gets compromised, then other
Hmm.
may be compromised. So we looked into cyber security and cyber resilience of power system and
Hmm.
communication system, because
Okay.
power grid is
Hmm.
highly computerized, digitalized
Correct.
infrastructure with lots of communication happening all the time.
Correct.
And from that, I got interested in cybersecurity. So when I came back to
Hmm.
India in
Mm-hmm.
2015, I wrote a large proposal for the Science and Engineering Research Board to fund us to create a
Hmm.
center for cybersecurity of critical infrastructure. So that center
Okay.
we called C3I Center in IIT Kanpur.
Hmm.
And then I ran it. We developed India's first test beds in power system, power transmission, distribution, generation, water treatment plant,
Okay.
industrial, assembly line, and all that, which
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
all highly computerized with programmable logic
Hmm.
controllers, supervisory controllers, and things like that. And so we got very good, at in operation, what we call OT, or operational technology security. And then in
Okay. Okay.
2020, we wrote a larger proposal to DST, Department of Science and Technology, when they were
Mm-hmm.
actually establishing technology innovation hubs at various institutes. And in that
Huh.
context, I wrote the proposal for CCI Hub, which is a
Hmm.
technology innovation hub. There, not only we did research, we did training, we did incubation of startups in cybersecurity. We
Hmm.
also did a
Hmm.
lot of, industrial, activities and so on. And in that context, in that time, I also got very much involved in blockchain technology. I had a large project from
Hmm.
the National Cybersecurity Coordinator's Office called in
Okay.
National Blockchain Project. And in that
National
context,
blockchain.
I started working on that. So now, when I
Yeah.
came here,
Hmm.
I started, since this is one of the India's top place in AI.
Right.
The AI. If you look at the ranking in AI alone, then
Ha ha ha.
IIIT Hyderabad is top in India.
Oh,
So
great, sir.
we have
Yeah.
multiple research centers, like computer vision research centers. We have
Ha ha.
ML labs, which does very fundamental ML work. We have the Bhashini project by the Ministry of IT. The
Ha ha.
engineering of that happens from here. We have a language technology research
Ha.
center. We have a very good robotic research center with
Huh.
drones and robots and robotic, autonomous
Hmm.
autonomous movement and mobility. We also have quite a bit of work on health technology, digital health
Right.
technology. So I
Hmm.
thought that, AI, LLM, and Gen AI and agentic AI are now
Hmm.
entering this space, but they are actually being used without safeguards, proper safeguards. Internationally, there are safeguards, there are risk frameworks, risk management frameworks, there are laws in the EU about AI safety and
Correct.
responsible use of AI and so on. But
Hmm.
there is a lot more, because a lot of cyber attacks can happen if you are not careful. So
Correct.
currently in my lab, there are the one primary goal is to actually develop techniques and methodology for protecting AI and AI based systems, as well as how to use AI to protect against cyber attacks,
Hmm.
and demonstrating how AI can be used by attackers to create new malware, new types of attacks, and so on. So all these things are
Hmm.
happening. So that's one
Okay.
major part of our activities now in my lab here. Second
Okay.
thing that we are doing is a lot of work on cyber crime analysis. We are actually working with the Telangana Cyber Security Bureau, with the police.
Okay.
So
Ha ha
we
ha.
have been doing a lot of work in cybercrime analysis and cybercrime investigative methods and tools, etc. The third thing that we are doing also quite a bit is blockchain based development of
Huh.
tools and techniques.
Hmm.
And then we also have some work on policy, cybersecurity policy, AI,
Huh.
responsible AI policy, and also how to develop audit methodology or the audit tools and techniques
Audit
and
tools.
methodologies
Yeah.
for
Hmm.
certifying systems, including AI based systems. And then fifth is that here we also have a very good team in IIIT before my time, is regarding digital twin, creating digital twin of
Digital twin for
power
training the
systems.
simulation part.
Yeah,
Yeah. Huh.
yes, digital twin of water system and so on. So we are actually looking into how to use those to do cybersecurity simulation, cyber
Hmm.
attack
Hmm.
simulation in the digital
Okay.
twin to actually understand what would happen if there is an attack, where the attack could come through. So like threat, understanding the threat models, etc., through the digital twin. So my lab called Cyber Manthan Lab is now focused on these six different verticals. So
Great, sir. Yeah.
lot of things.
So I think 1 hour is less for me to do a podcast with you because you have a lot of things working and we can do little deep dive in each and everything. So, but my favorite topic, I would like to start with the blockchain part. So where you are working, right? So and in your phone conversation, you mentioned that you are the responsible person to build that self-sovereign identity part for IIT Kanpur, right? So can you please tell more about that? So what was that from Kanpur
Yeah,
to what we are doing now? Yeah.
right. So in during COVID, 2020, COVID happened, and then I had a PhD, I had a master's student, Nilesh
Huh,
Vasita.
huh,
So
huh.
we already had been working on blockchain based. Mostly blockchain based data integrity platforms, like for example
Okay.
land record,
Huh, huh.
medical record,
Yeah.
data integrity, etc. But
Right.
during COVID, while sitting at home, I suddenly read about
Huh.
some work on Hyperledger Indy, and
Yes.
also the idea that in Switzerland some people started looking into self-sovereign identity
Self-sovereign identity.
by
Yeah.
having the identity signed by authorities, and then uh, making sure that the signature verification can be done by by using the private public key stored in the blockchain, and
Right.
schema stored in the blockchain, and so
Stored
on.
in the
So
blockchain.
I
Right.
told Nilesh that you are supposed to do your
Yeah.
master's thesis. So
Huh.
why don't you work on this? And then
Okay.
he actually built something,
Huh.
and
Hmm.
we eventually graduated him. But he was also part of a
Huh.
startup we created as
Huh.
part of the National Blockchain Project. It was called Kruban. So Kruban had also worked on a couple of other things. For example, Kruban worked on with the Karnataka government already in
Huh.
2021. We developed a mechanism to record the deed registration. When you buy a
Did.
property, you actually do a
Yeah.
deed registration at a sub registrar's office. So we
Huh.
did, put that entire deeds hash and the signature signed hash into the
Hmm.
blockchain, so that nobody can change the deed in the in your back. Your deed
Right.
is deed integrity can be checked. And we
Right.
also did some work with Karnataka government on some e-procurement system,
Hmm.
data visibility, data
Hmm.
sharing framework. But this self-sovereign identity framework, which Nilesh did, we actually then integrated that into the Kubernetes portfolio. And then actually we said, okay, in India, Aadhaar is the basic identity, so nobody is interested in
Yeah.
having a decentralized identity mechanism. So first
Yeah.
thing we did is that why not give degrees? So IIT
Huh.
Kanpur degree, when you get a degree, and so you
Mm-hmm.
give a copy of that degree, to somebody else, they
Mm.
have to call IIT Kanpur to say check whether
Verified.
uh,
Yeah.
so it's a verifiable degree or not. But with self-sovereign identity, you do not have to call anybody. You have to just check the digital signature. And when we also use the you use the this standard, WWW standard,
W3C.
so that
W3C
yeah,
compliance. Yeah.
W3C standard, which basically
Yeah.
meant that you do not have to give every information on your degree. You can only give your name and where you got your degree or which year you got the
Right.
degree, etc. And then we
Selective
started
disclosure
seeing
part, I
a lot
think.
of
Yeah.
traction there. So the Prime Minister Modi actually
Uh-huh.
opened that year. He came for the in 21. He came for the convocation, and with a single click by him, we basically pushed 1700 degrees to all the students' wallets.
Oh.
So that he was happy with this, and he actually went back and
Huh.
told the Child and Women Welfare Ministry to actually do this same thing for they used to they on 26th January every year, the government gives something called a Bal Puraskar. So
Huh, huh,
actually,
huh.
we that in 2022 January, the Bal
Huh, huh, huh.
Puraskar was done also on that same platform. And
Nice.
then
Amazing.
then we actually went ahead, and Indira Gandhi Open University, IIT Indore, various
Hmm.
other institutes, we actually did the degree granting through
Hmm.
these mechanisms.
Okay.
But then we actually started looking into what other documents can be, given in this form. So at
Hmm.
this point, we decided that IIT Kanpur give you a plastic card for your identity, right? And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
every time you go out of the institute, or you want to go to one
ID
hostel
card.
or other, show the card and all
Yeah.
the stuff. Why not
Yeah.
make a sovereign identity as cards for this thing? So we also
Correct.
did that. In the meantime, the Kruban, this company Kruban that was created, they
Huh.
kind of split. The founders kind of split, and then
Oh.
main branch went to something called a Credential, which is a company in Gurgaon right now. Two of our students are running it. So that's where we did. Now, since then, we have done many things with the same technology, and it's a pretty simple technology, and we actually now use Polygon. We do not use India thing, because it's very difficult to govern the
Hmm.
private blockchain, because every
Yeah.
node owner, like we put our nodes in like IIT Indore and IIIT
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Allahabad, etc. But
Yeah.
we found that these nodes become unmanaged, right? So they are not,
Huh.
nobody is upgrading those nodes and so on. So it becomes a
Yeah.
kind of like a insecure system.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
Polygon, we use now for doing this, because
Hmm.
Polygon, we don't have to manage
It's a public
the
blockchain. Yeah.
blockchain itself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Right.
how we are doing it. So here also, we have been talking to the institute. I'm new here, but
Huh.
we want the institute identity to be provided this way. Maybe we'll also provide
Hmm.
the degrees this way. But
Hmm.
also, we know other kinds of documents. We can do this for procurement documents, bank statements, anything can be converted to,
Verifiable credential. Yeah.
verifiable credential,
Right.
easily like this.
Very
So
easily.
that's
Very
what we are
easily.
doing in the blockchain.
Yeah.
Other than that, uh, we also did a lot of work on cryptocurrency forensics. So I
Okay.
had a big project in IIT Kanpur, which is still there, but I'm no longer doing it.
Ha ha
That
ha.
is doing cryptocurrency forensics. I had a couple of masters and PhD students that developed, and a postdoc who developed all these thing, and they developed a tool, for
Hmm.
cryptocurrency forensics and so on.
Ha ha.
Right now, I'm not doing that, because I don't think that in India the
Ha.
cryptocurrency is going to be important, and therefore it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for us to continue developing that, even though a
Right.
lot of crimes happen through cryptocurrency, and therefore the forensic is required. But
Required.
I think
Correct.
it's a quite tall task to actually compete with, for something like something like this chain analysis, or
Hmm.
TMR labs and all that stuff. So I'm not doing that here.
Okay, okay. Amazing, sir. So, yeah, you are doing the great thing. So, with respect to your knowledge, sir, as you mentioned, Hyperledger India has a challenges then the node is not manageable. So, is there anyone who is using the private blockchain? There is a one term called B sovereign network, something. Those guys like initially they started like British Government
Yes,
Council or something.
sovereign network.
Sovereign,
But
sovereign
they
network. Yeah.
basically
Huh.
they stopped supporting
They stopped it.
supporting
Yes.
that. Actually,
Yeah.
if you see look at all the private blockchain like Hyperledger based or at
Huh.
that time there was multiple others.
Fabric
It's
and different is there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So but the problem is that maintaining the chain.
Hmm.
The reason why Bitcoin or Ethereum or even Ethereum layer 2 networks are alive and probably healthy, they may not be healthy. Actually, I found that
Yeah.
they are pretty centralized. They are not really decentralized. For example,
Okay.
hash power hash power
Huh.
in Bitcoin is actually in about five mining pools have about
Hmm.
60-70% of hash power, which means that if these five mining pools collude, you can basically completely change the data.
Yeah.
Similarly, in Ethereum also about four or five stakeholders have maximum like 60, 70, 80% stake. I don't know the current number. So which means
So
that they can
yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
even prove by stake. If they want, they can collude and actually
Yeah.
change everything. So
So
so that's why yeah. So that's why I'm not too gung ho about the fact that they're very secure. But what happens is that if you yourself are maintaining all the a blockchain, a private blockchain,
yeah.
then what would happen is that you become responsible for all the nodes, because the other
Right.
people who will volunteer to keep your nodes, they have no
Hmm.
incentive to keep your nodes updated, like
Update.
patch all the operating system,
Correct.
the
Correct.
application, and so on. So which
Hmm.
means that you are basically controlling. So what happens is you are remotely logging into those nodes and updating
Right.
them and things like that, which basically means
So
you are
no use
basically
of having different
yeah,
region.
there is
It's
no
like yeah, central service
it's a
only.
namesake decentralization. So what
Exactly.
happened?
Exactly.
So one time I was actually asked to be the alumni association election officer for IIT Kanpur, and
Huh.
I said, okay, we'll do this with the
Yeah.
blockchain based voting, like a smart contract
Yeah.
based voting.
E-voting code. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Famous use case. Yeah.
So then I started seeing that the alumni people, the kind of emails they were writing to the officer, their basic assumption, not everybody,
Huh.
but a few
Huh.
people had basic assumption is that the election officer is biased. So I said to my students that if we do a private blockchain which we
Huh.
maintain,
Right.
then it is going to be a problem, because they're going to think that I have manipulated the smart
Manipulate.
contract or something. So let's
Right.
go for something that on
Public.
which we have no control. So
Huh.
that
Huh.
time we started using Polygon. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean that I'm saying I'm endorsing Polygon, or I'm saying Polygon is safe or anything. But at
Right.
least the nobody can say that I have gone and had exercised any kind of control on the nodes there,
Right.
because it is not
Right.
under my control. So at least
Correct.
I can redirect the trust thing
Trust.
to a third party. That third party may or
Hmm.
may not be trustworthy, but at least nobody can
That is
for
secondary now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so in that sense, we did this. I was also part of the technology advisory group of the CBDC, the Central
Yes,
Bank
I was
Digital
coming to this.
Currency at
Yes,
RBI.
central bank digital currency.
So,
Yes.
so I think that blockchain is something that intellectually I like it very much, but I don't think that it is going to be it is going to see a whole lot of use because of this kind of practicalities. Like if you are doing a
Okay.
cryptocurrency blockchain, they
Ah,
tend to centralize their hash power and
yeah.
everything becomes centralized.
Correct.
On the other hand, if you do a private blockchain, then governance of the chain is a
Governance is a
big
big
problem.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
so
challenge.
so I think that that way it's a technology that is idealistically very good, but I don't think it is going to be very practical.
Okay, so now it's a trade-offs. It's built in a structured way, like with the ideally it's correct, but practically to
If you can
maintain
do
that,
good
it's
governance, if your governance is good, if your
huh,
governance is legally binding, etc., then you
huh.
can do it. But
Okay.
normally, what happens is in this kind of projects, we ask a few friends in other universities, can you host a node, right? And then
Yeah,
we created this node structure, and then
right.
obviously they are not incentivized to actually keep
Maintain
upgrading the
it.
nodes and so on. If there was
Correct,
a
correct.
legal binding agreement between the organizations, then
Uh,
they would have done it, right? So,
right,
and
right,
there has to be a governing body and etc. So in that case, the governance becomes a very important part, and governance should be very transparent. Everybody should know who are the parts of the governance, when the meetings happen, the meeting minutes should be public. All these things has to be done in order
correct,
to
correct.
actually make the governance work, which is a lot of
Hmm.
work, which is not simple.
Hmm. Right, right, right. So you mentioned a CBDC part. So what happened to the CBDC? Is it really implemented, or are we scaling it? What's exactly going in the behind with respect to
So look,
CBDC?
CBDC was part of a budget speech of 2022 that it
Huh?
will be done. Therefore, the we were called into that committee. We actually worked with NPCI and
Hmm.
RBI together, and they developed a wholesale CBDC first, and then
Hmm.
they developed this wallet based retail CBDC. The wholesale CBDC was between banks and RBI,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that they can settle their reserve accounts across that thing. The retail CBDC is supposed to be, coming to the wallets of you and me, and we should be
Hmm.
paying money to various each other, or to vendors, right?
Huh?
Uh, Unfortunately, in India, the payment system, India has
Hmm.
the world's best payment system, which is UPI,
UPI,
right?
correct.
So UPI is so convenient, right?
Huh?
That how would you convince people that no, don't use UPI, use this,
Use
right? Even
CBDC.
though the
Huh?
idea is quite different. In
Huh?
UPI is a messaging system. Basically, you are messaging across the UPI switch and the bank's UPI interfaces, that
Hmm.
debit so much from this guy and credit so much
Yeah,
from that guy,
yeah.
right?
Correct, correct.
That is what you are doing. It's kind of like a messaging system.
Messaging channel.
It's
Correct,
not a sovereign. It's not a sovereign value transfer, right?
correct,
So, but
correct.
CBDC is supposed to be a
Hmm.
value transfer, that you are actually carrying the value in
Hmm.
your wallet, and then you are sending to somebody that value. But the implementation that we did was not like that. Implementation was that I have to actually always be connected to the bank where they have created a kind of an account for me for CBDC. So the
Uh-huh.
CBDC I see in my wallet is kind of
Huh.
a representation of the CBDC I have in a bank account.
Bank account.
So
Okay.
again, when I transferred the CBDC from my wallet to your wallet, it is
Huh.
actually going through the bank, your representative
Bank's
account in the
agent.
bank, and it's a through a switch that was in
Hmm.
NPCI. So in
Uh-huh.
that sense, not a sovereign value transfer. It's actually
Correct.
just a
Again,
just
bank
a
to bank. Yeah,
replacement
transfer.
of CBDC in a more user friendly. You can see the representation of 100 rupees and
Paper. Yeah.
200 rupees
Note.
and things like that.
Yeah.
But
Huh.
actually, it's the same thing. So in that
Huh.
sense, it does not give a whole lot of advantage over UPI. So I think
Okay.
we ran the pilot in 2022
Mm-hmm.
December, then the pilot ran for a long time, to a whole 23.
Huh.
Initially, there were 4 banks, then they extended it to 9 banks, and right now, I think there may be some more banks who are doing
Uh-huh.
this. But
Mm-hmm.
takers are very few. Like, very few people find a much value of doing it. In the beginning, there
Okay.
was some novelty aspect, so we all
Huh.
used to send 1 rupee to each other. Like, people who were in the committee, we were like
Yeah. Yeah.
creating our own wallets, and we were sending rupees to each other to see how it works and so on.
Yeah.
Even the banks that were involved, they actually convinced number of vendors that you should accept CBDC also. So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff was there. But unfortunately, the uh, the idea of having the value transfer, what
Huh.
Nandan Nilekarni talks about internet, right?
Right.
Where you actually, it's the internet of value transfer. That kind
Uh-huh.
of implementation was not done. Now,
Hmm.
the other thing that they wanted to do is to be inclusive. That is, suppose you do not have a bank account, can you
Okay.
use this this thing that will give more inclusion, right? So suppose I there is a special ATM, and in
Uh-huh.
that ATM you go and you scan a QR code and you push in some notes like a
Okay.
paper money. Let's say
Uh-huh.
you put 1,000 rupees paper money, and it will
Huh.
load on your this
Wallet.
thing wallet some of these things, right? In that case,
Okay.
you can then, even if you don't have a bank account, you just got cash from your
Oh,
employer, you can push the cash and convert it into your phone money, right?
phone money
But then,
directly CBDC.
yeah,
Huh, huh, huh. Huh.
but then what happens is that when you are going to a merchant who takes CBDC, you can pay in
Uh-huh.
CBDC. But the
Right.
problem in this case, what happens is that most Indians do not have a expensive phone. So the cheap
Right.
phones, the
Huh.
security is not good enough for doing this, because you
Oh,
have to secure the
their
money that
wallet.
is your put wallet. This thing.
Yeah.
See, in the current model, the money is actually in the bank, uh,
Hmm,
but
hmm, hmm,
but
hmm.
in the model that I am telling you, it has to be a sovereign value in your phone. So if
Right.
your phone has a bug, or some kind of somebody gets the private key of your wallet, etc., your money will be gone, or money can be used by others, and so
Use.
on. So
Yeah.
that is what we call offline CBDC. So that
Offline
offline
CBDC. Yes.
CBDC, where you are no longer connected to the bank, you are just peer to
Yeah.
peer transferred the CBDC. So that thing
Yes.
there were lots of competition, like we did. RBI does every year a competition called Harbinger. So
Hmm,
several
hmm, hmm, hmm.
years we did, they did this competition. People have come up with various solutions, some of which are very, requires things that we cannot do. For example,
Hmm,
they
hmm, hmm.
some said, even if the phone is not good enough for keeping a keys private key secret, we can
Uh-huh.
create a hardware overlay on the SIM card.
Okay.
There will keep the thing secure, but those are very expensive solutions which may
Right.
not be suitable for Indian scenario.
Yes.
Also, proving that those kind of hardware is going to be secure is also not
Second
that easy.
challenge. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
extra layer of challenge on top of it.
So therefore, offline CBDC or inclusivity did not work very well.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
So that is why that would have been a killer application, because then people who do not have bank account could also use CBDC and
Correct.
use
It's
digital
lit.
payments. For
Yeah.
UPI, you need to have a bank account, right?
Right.
So
Must
if
have
we
a
could
bank
do
account.
this
Yeah.
without, make this work
Bank.
without bank account, then it would have at least some good reason for people to use. But
Correct.
right now that is not the case.
So,
So therefore, I
sir.
think that the entire CBDC thing is kind of, and then also there is a lot of resentment against CBDC in Western countries,
Ha ha
like
ha.
in the US, for example. Many states have banned CBDC because they think that if you are
Oh,
using digital payments so much, you are going to get tracked, because everything then
that's
goes
a
to the,
thought process is like, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm,
So CBDC is not, but in India that's not a problem because we use UPI. UPI can be tracked easily, right? So I think the Indians are not so worried about it. Yeah. So Indians are not so worried about this, but Western countries are worried about it. So overall, it's not clear to me that CBDC is going to be a big success in a country like India, where we already have a very sophisticated and very good digital payment system, and also because of the Dhan Jan Yojana
ha ha
of
ha.
the
Hmm,
government.
hmm.
In India, I think the percentage of people who have bank account has increased heavily. So therefore, it is the scenario I was describing, that you do not you if you do not have bank account, how will you use
Hmm, hmm.
digital payment? Then CBDC can be useful. But since most people have bank account, UPI can be enabled, and therefore that reason is also not very
Strong
effective there.
to.
So
Yeah,
in
effectively.
therefore the incentive to use CBDC seems to be low in my view.
Okay, so CBDC also one challenge for block adoption. So, sir, I have a question. You mentioned like we are making it like a proper paper sort of thing where without bank account you can use it. So, does this model we implemented it somewhere, or it just a theory point of view? Like
No, I think that ATM thing was never done, but there
ATM
was
thing
a
was not never done.
number of prototype applications which was supposed to work without
Uh-huh.
having a bank connection and all that stuff,
Uh-huh.
without having to check the money against the bank account and all that stuff. This, but yeah, so this ATM thing that we were saying is an is a idealistic scenario where people can go and push their cash and get money into their phone. That didn't work. The
So, did you?
other yeah
Sorry, sir. Do
the
you know, sir, that there is a one component called hardware root of trust where we can use the
yes,
device
yes,
level security sort of thing. So,
correct.
does that is also not going to help in that scenario
No, so
or for
that
securing the
was our
border?
main
Yeah,
concern, right?
yeah,
For a expensive phone which is using Qualcomm,
yeah,
the chipset and all, they have a tamper proof root of trust as an extra
yeah.
hardware and all that stuff, right?
Correct, correct.
But cheaper phones, cheaper 5,000 sub 5,000 phones or the feature phones, they do not have that robust root of trust that we can trust. If we could if we have a foolproof root of trust, then this problem could be easily solved.
Okay. So limitation is here hardware. If hardware is solidly provided to everyone, then this might could be the one game
Right,
changing
right.
solution. Okay.
Yeah, but see,
Hmm,
but the problem is that so the other place where I think CBDC would be useful if we
hmm,
could do
hmm,
business
hmm.
on the chain. See,
Haha.
today when you, let's say, you buy a cryptocurrency, you are not you are and but you are paying your money to a bank, from your bank account to the let's say
Chain.
Coin DCX and all that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah,
will
yeah.
first take your money, right?
Correct.
Then they will give you your currency, and most of the time they will hold it because it's custodial. But in case
Right.
of a non-custodial, they will transfer it to your wallet after you give the money. So there is what we call settlement risk. So you give the money, but they may not give you the this thing.
Token.
Now,
Yeah, currency.
now, what if my money was in the form of a blockchain based asset, a settlement asset like CBDC? If the retail CBDC was a blockchain based asset, then I could have done what is called an atomic swap. I could have, yeah.
Uh,
there will be no risk. My money will only be transferred when I get my currency, or
yeah,
it both will be aborted. Right. So this is what
about it.
called
Correct.
atomic swap. Right. So that
Atomic swap.
it's
Yes.
guaranteed that you will both will get their thing in the same time. So
Correct,
so
correct.
this so if we had interest in settling assets, settling on-chain assets with on-chain settlement
Hmm.
tokens like money, then then also CBDC would be very useful. But since in
Uh,
India that there is no legal status of cryptocurrency, it's not clear. So therefore, there is no appetite to actually settle cryptocurrency business using on-chain settlement tokens, right?
okay.
So that is
Perfect.
that is another reason why
Hmm.
there I think CBDC would be useful. So right now, for example, why stable coins, right? The stable
Hmm.
coins are often used as a on-chain settlement asset. So you want to buy something,
Right. Yeah.
you have stable coins, so you actually do an atomic swap to get the
Swap.
get your whatever token, NFT,
Yeah.
whatever you are trying to get. But
Correct. Correct.
that business is not properly regulated, or that business is not there in India as such. So
Hmm.
therefore that there also CBDC is not being used. So
Right.
only reason why I think CBDC is required is when we want to do atomic settlement,
Hmm.
0 day settlement kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
S-
so
s-
that is yeah. So
yeah.
that
Yeah.
is not right now a priority, I think.
Okay. So we talked about two phases of CBDC. First one is the wholesale one, which is going to
Yeah.
do for business to business, and second one is the retail. Retail is, let's say, we didn't file that much value, but what
Yeah.
about wholesale? Is that some is
Wholesale is
huh,
a good thing in the sense that
yeah,
banks, all banks have a reserve account in RBI, right? So
RBI,
at the
right?
end of the whenever there is a payment, NEFT payment or UPI payments, these are all messaging system, right? So what they do is
Yeah,
that they send one bank that debit so much and the other bank credit so much, right? But
correct,
eventually the
correct.
two banks are not transferring the money. You are crediting
Transferring
your
anything,
account, but
correct,
so there is a settlement required, right? So this
right,
settlement
right,
is happens in a in a per hour or per few minutes, like that, right? So I think in RTGS it happens immediately and things like that, right? So this settlement happens through the reserve account, because each
correct.
bank has reserve account on this thing. So they do a net position. They basically consolidate, like how much debit and how much credit has happened between these two banks, and this thing. So this settlement can be done, with atomic swap also between the
Hmm,
two banks, right?
correct,
If they have CBDC, so
true.
they can actually say that from my reserve account, they can say to RBI that from my reserve account, give me so many CBDCs to my account, and then other bank will do the same thing, and then they will do an atomic swap. Then these two banks now will tell this thing, that okay, now you deposit this to my reserve account, and as regular cash,
Correct.
dissolve the tokens. So this is how this thing works. But there also, I am not privy to the information whether, like, experimentally this was done. This is very
Uh,
very very nice thing to do,
Yeah.
but I don't know whether they're still continuing to use it for interbank
Hmm.
settlement. I am not privy to that information. They might
Okay.
be them. I don't see a whole lot of reason to do it, but they might be doing it. But if it was an international, it would be really useful if another country's CBDC, let's say Singapore or some
Uh,
other country's CBDC, and let's say
hmm.
there are business between a Singapore entity and our entity, then they
Huh.
also have to settle, right? So
Correct.
so that settlement would be very useful if it is done with the with
CBDC.
CBDC, because
Yeah.
now what is happening is that now these things require correspondent bank and all that process, which takes
Correct.
several days. So
Right.
it's
True.
it's
True.
like what we call T+3, T+5.
T plus five. Yeah.
Yeah. So right, this could be converted to a T+0 settlement if
Hmm.
it was done through by connecting two blockchain by bridges. So
Bridges.
Singapore has, for example, Hong Kong. They have done number of experiments by bridging multiple CBDC blockchains from various countries.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not privy to any information where we have connected our wholesale CBDCs to another
Huh.
country's wholesale CBDC. So maybe they have tried it. I do not know, but
Okay.
I am not informed about it.
Okay. Great, sir. Great. Great. So again, on the same line, I have two questions now with respect to blockchain. Then we'll shift the topic. So you only mentioned one in our conversation. We considered two topics. First one is the election part. Okay, so what do you think about the e-voting part? Can this be shifted to the completely blockchain based solution by any chance? What's your observations, or what's your take on that, sir?
No, see the problem is that, as I said, that if you are going to use Ethereum or
Polygon.
similar
Yeah,
blockchain, Solana, whatever. As I said, that they have all this centralization, right? So they're
majority of
supposedly
nodes. Yeah.
decentralized, but they can
Hmm.
be easily colluding four, five, six large entities. And we know that what kind of collusion in capitalistic system happens, right? I mean, Epstein file is a good example of what kind of people manage this
Yeah.
large money, like who has all the money.
Yeah.
So
Right.
suppose an election of a large country like US or Brazil or India is happening on one of those blockchains. Then
Okay.
since there is so much at stake, see,
Hmm.
why doesn't these four entities or five entities I'm talking about collude?
Huh.
Because there
Hmm.
is no incentive for them to collude. right? But
Correct.
suppose a whole country's this thing is at stake, then there will be a
Hmm.
lot of large
Incentive
interests, and they will
interest, right?
bribe. They can bribe these four, five, six entities to
Hmm.
actually make whatever they want, right? So
Right,
that is
right.
why the public blockchains are problematic from that angle,
Problematic.
right? So
Correct. True, true.
public blockchain based e-voting only can work for, let's say, a school's
Schools,
student
colleges.
election, colleges, student election and stuff. But when
Okay.
stakes are very high, like a country like Brazil, India, or
Yeah.
US, etc., election, then I wouldn't
Right.
trust the public blockchains because of that.
Okay.
Now, in case of private blockchain or
Huh.
permission blockchain, who will be the who will
Governance
maintain the
body. Yeah.
governance, right?
Yeah.
And there, the issue would be that see, the election is also a lot about trust. Right now, there is
Right.
trust is low in India, for example, or Trump created into after 2020 election, he created a lot of he basically intentionally put a lot of mistrust in the election system. So
True.
election system sanctity is very important. That's why even for that alumni election, I said let's
Hmm.
not use our own blockchain and use
Public
Polygon.
blockchain. Yeah. Right.
Eventually, I resigned from that election post, and we didn't do it in blockchain. But
Uh-huh.
the point is that when stakes are very high, then possibility of manipulation, etc., are there. And since the possibility of manipulation, see, in an EVM condition like current EVM, the possibility of manipulation is rather difficult because it's so decentralized. If
Hmm.
you
Hmm. Hmm.
want to manipulate election then you have to do it in many booths, right? You
True, sir.
cannot do it in
Huh.
one booth or one EVM and etc., right?
Okay.
So whereas if you are going to do it with a blockchain,
Huh.
eventually that blockchain is going to be governed, and these smart contracts will be governed by whoever is maintaining all the nodes.
Hmm.
And if the governance mechanism is untrustworthy, or it is in the hands of only couple of entities, then we can have a big mistrust and all that stuff. So I would not be interested in holding national elections using blockchain, because I think in a
Hmm.
democracy, if trust is not there, then that democracy is going to have a huge problem, because you cannot trust the sanctity of the results. That's what Trump keeps doing, like 2020 results, or right now he's
Hmm.
breeding that kind of a mentality for the upcoming election. These are all known techniques for subverting the democracy. So I think
Hmm.
if you want to do alumni body election, some student body election, the stakes are not high, so nobody is going to
Right.
bribe anybody.
Correct.
Nobody will have enough money to
Money to
bribe.
actually they won't have even they want to bribe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that there you can have it on Polygon, Ethereum, wherever you want. But for large economies, large elections, I don't think you can do it.
Okay. Okay. So cool. But I think so somehow if we have a proper governance mechanism, but based on your conversation, sir, I have one more curious question. Like when we talk about smart contract, so that's we say ki like if we have deployed it, it is not immutable, right? No one is going to change it. So even though someone bribed or intentionally, if someone tried to change it, still we can trace back and identify like what went wrong or who redeployed it or what instance it's went something wrong. But that's again a debatable topic to check that
Right.
how it is going to compromise or what is the majority of
No, but yeah. So if
yeah,
majority
yeah,
if majority is compromised, then all bets are off. They can replace
right.
replace the smart contract. They can actually use a hidden function call in the smart contract, that a
Correct,
sequence
correct.
of a particular sequence of function calls which nobody else knows, that if you call that sequence, then it will change all the votes and stuff. I
Correct,
mean,
correct.
I haven't done a
Yeah.
threat modeling, but I think that for a
Yeah.
program to be manipulatable, is not that difficult.
True, true, true. One could be possible scenarios. Need to look into it more. So, second thought is like, as we know, the country like India, government always used to run different campaigns and subsidiaries programs for agriculture purpose, for different women health issues, and some beneficiaries, some fund they used to give always. And we saw many examples like whatever fund distributed through the central government or state government, it used misused many times, right? So let's say, for example, a very very small example, in each states now, most of the politicians, they started this thing, the scheme for giving freebies to the women, like giving 2,000 per woman based on certain name, and then before election mostly they start. But that's fine, whatever they want to do they are doing. But the ultimate thing is what I observe, this is my observation, uh, they have certain criteria for getting that money, but so many people who are well settled at their home, but still they are applying it and getting that funds in their bank. So is what was my thought process, is there such way where the system like CBDC or any tokenomics should be there, which is they are not going to issue the money, they are going to issue the tokens, and it was going to use when they need it, like let's say for healthcare, it's going to used when they are going to any
Yeah, that
hospitals
has
at that
already been
particular
done.
government code. That
That
is
has
already
been
been
done.
done.
That is called
Okay.
programmable CBDC. So
Programmable
the
CBDC. Yes,
programmable
exactly.
CBDC is for this kind of direct, what we call direct
Yeah.
benefit transfer. So in a
Correct.
direct benefit transfer, suppose
Huh.
you give money for medicine or food, then you
Yeah.
are going to have this money for this. You can only that CBDC is valid only in certain uh,
Cases.
uh, shops or certain vendors, and
Yeah.
then when the vendor gets that CBDC, the vendor can then redeem it as regular money, right?
Correct.
So that
Correct.
so that it is programmed in such a way so that it once it is used, it will become a regular CBDC, right?
Regular
Now
CBDC. Correct.
here the problem I will tell you why this
Okay.
kind of technology is not good enough is
Yes, sir.
because this vendor will be colluding with the farmers or whatever, right? So
Mm-hmm.
vendor will say, like right now they give fake bills all the time, right, for agricultural
Okay.
subsidy.
Okay. Huh.
So vendor will say, okay,
Huh.
I'll give you a fake bill and
Huh.
you transfer your purpose bound CBDC. Then I will take a percentage. So let's say you have 1,000. So I will take a percentage, but I will give you the because as soon as you transfer it to me, I can redeem it as a normal CBDC. So once I
Correct.
get it, so I will give you, say, out of 1,000, I will give you 800, and I will keep 200. And then he will do this for all the whole village, and then what will happen is that the government will think that they all of them
It
have
got
used
all
health.
got redeemed. Yeah, all got used.
Yes,
100%
right.
utility.
And we have seen this actually. Some one time UP Agricultural Department officers told us to
Huh.
see whether there is a blockchain based solution for this agricultural implement
Huh. CBDC.
subsidy, where
Subsidy. Okay. Okay.
people
Huh.
actually get vouchers to
Huh.
buy in the agricultural implements, and then when they go to these the shops, these agricultural implement companies will give them fake bills and redeem their voucher, and then give part of the money to them and keep part of it, and then they can redeem the voucher, right? So it's the same thing. So until you change the people, the ethics of people, and value system of people, none of the technology is going to help much, right? So we all I'll tell you that government has done a very important thing called PFMS, right?
Okay.
PFMS
Huh.
is actually right. Earlier what used to happen is, suppose you get money from the government for a project. So
Okay.
government used to transfer a large chunk of that money to your bank account, right? And then you spend, and then you show a audited statement to the government
Hmm.
that I have spent the money and all that stuff. Now
Okay.
auditors are usually liberal, so they
Yeah.
will take some money and they will say that
Give
it
the
is all
proper.
good, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now the government has done what is called PFMS, where
Huh.
government will never transfer the money to you.
Okay.
Government will create a account for you in RBI, and
Huh.
then at the every month when you have to pay your employees in the project or buy
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
something, you
Hmm.
upload these account numbers, etc., to PFMS portal, and it
Okay.
will directly pay that money to those people, right? So this is
Vendors.
PFMS, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all
Huh.
all all the DST projects now are PFMS, right? So you
Huh.
think that this will now stop this misuse of the money because you are seeing. I have seen in
Huh.
IITs,
Huh.
people are given money who don't even work there, right?
Wow. Huh.
You can only give money. RBI or DST can only check whether you say that there is an employee who should get 50,000. This employee should get
Correct.
70,000. So and then you give their Aadhaar number, PAN number, all that stuff. But
Right.
that
Right. Right.
guy may actually give back 50 out of 50. He might give back
Yeah.
40 to you and give 10, right?
Yes.
And he
Correct.
is actually a ghost employee, right?
Correct.
So this happens, right? So similarly, they will do various other kind of ways to this
Hmm.
thing. And then the PFMS also is help used to do direct benefit transfer. So
Hmm.
suppose you
Hmm. Hmm.
work in you are in a panchayat, your panchayat office
Yeah.
certifies that you are poor enough to get, say, some
The
scheme,
benefits.
some Pradhan
Haha.
Mantri
Yeah.
scheme or CM
Yeah.
scheme or some.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that this guy is now this panchayat guy. He knows that I have given certified X, Y, and Z, right?
Right.
So he will say that I am certifying you, but every month when you get your money, you give half of that to me, right? Otherwise, I'm going to next time I'll not certify you, right? So
Wow.
so therefore, even
Yeah.
even with all the technology and direct benefit transfer, the money is being siphoned off. So I think that technology is can only see we have
Huh.
this wrong idea that technology solves every problem. Actually, technology can only solve so much. People have to be properly trained in value system, given value system, ethics, this kind of stuff. So that's why in IIIT we have a already Professor Sangal started this value education class.
Great.
We do not know how good it is. I mean, it is very good, but whether it is effective on our students or not. But I
Hmm.
think that it is very important. Otherwise, the country is going to get into big trouble in the future,
Big
because if
trouble.
everybody is
Yeah.
unethical, I see professors to top administrators to
Hmm.
everybody is so unethical, so corrupt
Hmm.
that taxpayers' money is being wasted a lot. And as I
Yeah.
said, no blockchain, direct
Hmm.
benefit transfer, no programmable CBDC can
Can
help
save this.
if people are
Yeah.
not God fearing. Even though we have a
Yeah.
very religious society, but nobody is God
Yes.
fearing.
God fear. Yes. Eh,
Because if you're God fearing, then you wouldn't do any of this.
Yes, true, sir. So there always need required one fear factor. Because why I'm asking such questions, sir? So as a developer, as a blockchain developer, I used to teach as a YouTuber where we say, ki, yes, we can help do this particular problem statement. We can solve this particular problem statement. Just trying to take the validation from your side. Like, is it really a thought process? Because when I go to Maharashtra and when I see the things are happening, and we are paying a lot of tax to the government and we are not getting any special benefit, right? There is no special benefit for taxpayer and the normal people who are reading the schemes from the government. Both everyone is living in the same society without any discrimination. So that's always I think okay, that's completely fine. You are taking stack, but at least going in a right hand, it's always going in a very bad. This is one small example,
No,
but there
so
are n
so
number
I
of
think
such
I think there
examples. Yeah.
there I have a different point. See, in
Okay.
India,
Hmm.
there is a huge amount of inequality. So I
Yeah.
I was reading that if you have a income of
Hmm.
30,000 rupees per month in India, you are in top 6%, which means that 94% of people earn less than 30,000 per month. Now, this is the situation in India. On top of that, there is also people who live in villages or localities. They have political people making them pay for their small shop. They have to pay monthly. They have to
Yeah.
pay police and all that stuff, right? So
Right.
I
Right.
think
Right.
I
Right.
think
Right.
that see the tax, they but the poor people also pay GST, right? So it's
Right.
not like poor people have no contribution to the economy and they're only taking money. In fact,
Hmm.
more money in the hands of poor people is good for
More
Indian
GST.
economy, because
Correct.
that will make the economy actually dynamic, right? See, if you
Hmm.
have most of your people have only 25 30,000 income, out
Hmm.
of which they give house rent and food and education for their children,
Right.
health care for their children. What would happen
Right.
is they won't have any kind of disposable income. So if you
Hmm.
do not have disposable income, how are you going to buy a subscription to AI service or whatever
Right.
is being built, right?
Right.
So
Right.
if
Right.
we are
Right.
building technology, we are
Hmm.
building products and services. There has to be
Right.
consumers. So, see, right now,
Correct.
why is in US twisting our hands in terms of tariff and all that? Because we
Right.
are so our majority of our good products are actually foreign bound because our own people cannot really afford those things, right? now
Correct.
now if you make the economy from the bottom up, rather active, you have to
Hmm.
give them the money in their hands. And
Right.
with the upcoming scenario where there will be AI based job loss, there will be
Yeah.
climate crisis, there would be water crisis, even
True.
possibly food crisis because we are increasing in population.
True.
All these things when and then and there would be huge urbanization,
Urbanization.
and therefore
Big problem.
agricultural decimation. So I think
Loss.
that
Yeah.
the poor are going to get even worse. So therefore, we
Hmm.
have to figure out how to give money in their hands to make them spend money. Because if they don't spend money, economy is not going to go anywhere, right? So this is a problem worldwide. It's not only in India, even the US. The
Hmm.
top 1%, 2%, 3% has all the money. They have unbelievable amount of money, which
Right.
they have no idea what to do. So they do things like what Epstein used to do. But on the other hand, you have very poor people whose children do not have health insurance.
Right.
If they have any disease, they're succumbing to death or something. They are
Right.
having malnutrition because food they are eating is not a balanced diet. They are
Not
probably
balanced.
eating
Right.
very bad food and all this stuff. So, and this is happening in India. Like if you go to village side, I don't know in
Hmm.
Maharashtra, but in Bengal, I see
Uh-huh.
the growth is so stunted that everybody is below 5.2, 5.1, 5.3. The reason
Okay.
is not that genetically it's like that, because
Hmm.
they're getting get any nutrition from childhood. Then on
Oh.
top of that, education. Like I see that
Hmm.
most people go to school only up to midday meal, like that is until eighth grade or ninth grade.
Oh.
After that, midday
Okay.
meal stop going to
They will
school.
stop schooling.
So
Okay.
then
Uh-huh.
then yeah. And then even middle class who go to colleges, like who cannot afford to go to IITs, NITs, etc. Most tier 3 to tier 2 colleges are not giving them the right amount of education that is required in the new technology driven economy. So
Hmm.
only a few of those college students, they because they are good by themselves, they come out
Huh.
despite the college itself is not that great. So
Okay.
we have a huge problem because we have become top heavy. We have a lot
Hmm.
of very rich people, very capable people, all that stuff. They have gotten trained in IITs and NITs and
Right.
all that.
Right.
They work for MNCs, GCCs, and all
Right.
that. But then the rest of the country is actually suffering. And what
Correct.
that means is that over time, there will be so much, friction, and so much, already, people are not very happy with what they are having, right? So people are not
Hmm.
getting proper education, health. In India, healthcare is very, very like extremely good healthcare in Hyderabad, for example, or Chennai, but they
Uh-huh.
are only affordable to some people. They're not. They each time you go to
That's
hospital, it's a few lakhs every time, right? So people cannot afford.
correct.
So people are
Correct.
actually not getting the health care that they should get.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
The education they should get. School education is quite bad in most cases.
Correct.
So my only concern is that this will create a very unbalanced society, which will create a lot of frictions. And
Right.
maybe in my generation, it may not happen, but in the future generation, if we don't cut course, it will happen. And this is another problem that will happen is that see, if you know about Jamtara, Bharatpur, Nu, where there are
Mm.
cyber criminal gangs, why are
Yeah,
they
yeah, I know
doing
that.
cyber?
Yes.
So they do. Why do they do cyber criminal activities? Nobody does criminal activities just for fun, because they have no other option. They don't.
They don't have
I mean, they have
mm.
no other option, and somebody had showed them the rope here. I mean,
road. So they just
that
followed that. Yeah.
you can make good amount of money by doing
Money.
this.
Yeah.
So therefore,
Yes.
like, and then I don't know if you have seen that there was a guy who was arrested in Gurgaon, who actually in the name of giving jobs to young engineers, he put them send them to
Take the
Myanmar
monies and
and
yeah.
Cambodia. No, they
Yes.
actually, those young engineers, they became
Huh.
cyber slaves. So basically, they
Oh.
went to Cambodia, Myanmar, etc., thinking
Huh.
that they are joining a job. Then they're
Huh.
when they reach their passport is taken, and then they are
Huh.
meant to do. They are pushed to do this cyber crime, like cyber arrest,
Oh.
this digital arrest, and calling, social engineering, all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
investment fraud, and all that. So it's
Yeah.
actually called cyber slavery. So this
Yeah.
kind of things will happen if people remain that poor. And as I said, that the direct benefit transfer, all these things can be subverted by the use of coercion and all that. So I
Mm.
think that we need a lot of things to do beyond technology.
So there are a number of challenges I can see. It's not about the technology, it's more about social. We have to re-engineer we have to give more matured knowledge, I must say, to social engineering is required over here to give
Yeah. So
correct
and
education. Yeah,
overall, see, if you remember, if you have read history, that in Gandhi reached India, in early 1900s, and then
right.
he kind of did the social engineering to actually
Yeah,
make, eventually, that went to this Quit India movement. The
right.
entire country was with him, right? So
Correct.
there people had found a purpose and a mission in
Right.
life, right?
Purpose. Right.
And I think it's a time to do something like that, so that people find their
Hmm.
purpose and mission, and they
Purpose.
do not take the shortcuts and actually
Hmm.
feel that it is but if they see so much inequality, that's not going to happen, because they will say, why
Hmm.
should I not do something
Hmm.
wrong, because I am not even getting enough food, my son is not getting proper treatment or education,
Hmm.
be bound by some this thing, abstract
Yeah.
ideas.
Right.
So there has to be, it's better to make a more equitable society
Hmm.
than very top heavy society. That is my, and that is happening in the US and other countries as well.
Okay. So, sir, now we talked about challenges. We talked about like technology is not going to solve most of the challenges, and we are talking about like human need to get well educated, little more ethical to prevent the society. So, is there any suggestions or any solutions you have? Something like we can start doing collectively to address such issues, sir?
Yeah, so recently, 6 months ago, I met somebody called Mr. Ravi Sharma.
Okay.
He gave a talk in a conference I was attending, and he
Uh-huh.
runs something called an Institute of Goodness. This
Okay.
Institute of Goodness is basically, he was Asia Pacific head of Alcatel Lucent. Then he was I think chief executive in Adani Group and all that stuff. And then at
Okay.
some
Okay.
point in around 2012 or so, he decided that there is something wrong in the country. Everybody is not so good, right?
Ha ha ha.
And
Yeah.
so he's created this Institute of Goodness to spread the idea that everybody has to inculcate goodness in them, and that goodness is kind of like value education. So, but
Hmm.
but he told us something that I think struck me, that
Hmm.
in the old days, like when I grew up, I had my grandmother and her mother for a long
Right.
time. Like, my grandmother passed away only in 2014, and my
Ha
grandmother's
ha.
mother was also there when I was in engineering college. So I
Okay.
used to, like, since childhood, they used to tell us stories from not only from Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc., but
Yeah.
many other stories, right?
Yeah.
So this Ravi Sharma said that in the old days we used to get our values from
Hmm.
our grandparents, or the
Correct.
larger society. It was joint family and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
you
Right.
used to see that your parents probably doing sacrifice, or somebody else in the family is doing sacrifice,
Doing sacrifice.
and
Right.
feeding the other family members and all that stuff.
Right.
So you get a value system,
Right. Right.
and that value system has to be programmed in you. It cannot be just taught by
Hmm.
telling you that this is good value, this is bad value, because there is a difference between knowing and doing. So for example, all of us know that we should exercise every day, but very
Right.
few of us do it, right? So similarly,
Right. True, sir.
I might agree that yes, I
Yeah.
should do things which are honest and all that stuff, but when it comes to the reality, you may not do it. And I have seen this in very high level people in the country. So now what he wants to do, since we are now mostly in having nuclear families, he said that let's try to do this. Since we are not able to do this through joint family, let's do this at the school. So he wants to create a K through 12, like kindergarten to 12, a value education curriculum, a
Huh.
goodness curriculum, where
Uh-huh.
it will be programmed in the students again and again. So same ideas.
Mhm.
There are certain values. That the number of
Huh.
values is not like huge, but these
Huh.
values can be given to you in terms of
Hmm.
stories, in terms of
Hmm.
group exercise, in terms of
Hmm.
field trips and all that stuff, right? So as you go
Okay.
from one class to the other, as you grow older, uh, your this kind of stories that will be part of this education, kind of field trips
Hmm.
that will be part of the education will change. But main values will remain the same. There were 6, 7 values that we want to inculcate in people. And
Right.
he feels that that this will work, but it will take time. He thinks it will take about,
Hmm.
if we can start today to
Today. Huh.
put this in the syllabus for all the
Huh.
boards in India
Huh.
in different
Huh.
languages,
Hmm.
and then we can have this run for like 2 generations. I think he thinks that
Generations. Hmm.
it will become good, and otherwise India has no hope. There will be no Viksit Bharat and all that stuff, right? So so I was very interested in what he said,
Yeah.
and since
Yeah.
IIIT has a value education curriculum, which eventually AICT has now made it mandatory for other colleges also, but it was created
Right.
here. So I
Huh.
said
Huh.
that
Huh.
why don't we collaborate and do something about this?
Yeah.
So I have our value education teachers here,
Huh.
people who teach
Hmm.
the value education courses. I put them together with Mr. Sharma, and then now we are working towards, it's a little slow for my test, but we are
Yeah.
working towards formulating this like syllabi. So there is a group that is working on K
Hmm.
through second grade, and then third to I think sixth grade, and then seventh to ninth
Oh.
grade, and 11, 12. So there will be different curriculum and all that stuff. So we are hoping that if this can be done, and then he has been talking to various board
Hmm.
these things, and some boards have shown interest and so on. So if it can be made mandatory, like we currently have I think some studies on climate and all that stuff in colleges,
Yeah.
mandatory. So similarly you
Yeah.
can do this. So this is one way he has been thinking, and I think that I am not too hopeful about this, but I want to help in this, because
Yeah.
not doing anything is not an option,
Yeah.
right?
Right. At least
So
you
if
can
you want
support too.
to,
Let's try. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I am not very sure. I'm not as sure as him that this will work, but I am willing to push my faculty, etc., to actually uh, you know contribute to this and see if it works or not. But in any case, you ask me like what can be done, and I think this is one thing that one can try is to
Yeah.
actually and India is a very vast country, so it's not so easy.
Yeah.
to actually
Super
have
difficult.
everybody, even if you put them through school, and many people
Hmm.
don't even get to school, right? So, uh,
That's the
so
biggest problem here.
yeah,
Even
that
they,
is another problem. So I
yeah.
think that there is a lot more to do. Like I think the reduction of inequality or
Hmm.
giving more ability to have disposable income at the lower levels, that kind of thing that will spark the local economy, etc., is very important. So India has another issue that when in 1990s we used to hear that India will be better than China because we have the demographic dividend. We have
Right.
more young people. So our average age in
Right.
India right now, I think median age is 29 or something, whereas
Uh-huh.
China, etc., has 40 plus median age. So we have more people at a workable age, but unfortunately, we have not been able to derive the benefits of a demographic dividend because we do not have enough jobs. We do not
Hmm.
have enough women in the workforce. So even if we have
Hmm.
such low age, but
Yeah.
half of that is women, right? So
Right.
if we do not have work for them,
Hmm.
then that is also not going to help, and economy is not
Grow.
going to be
Right.
dynamic. So I think
Right.
that we have to do something about this because this demographic window is very short. Eventually, we all also
Right.
become aging population because
Right.
right
Right.
now
Right.
the birth rate has decreased.
Right.
So and it will further decrease, which means that this people who are now young will become old.
Old. Yes.
That many young people will not come in. So this
Correct.
is called demographic dividend window. So we are
Yeah.
actually losing the window unless we do something.
Hmm. So we have to start doing something and derive the more values from our young
Right.
generation. Otherwise, we'll lose the that opportunity to uplift our society. Very
Right.
interesting, sir. Very well you said. We'll try to reach out Ravi Sharma sir also to talk more on that. Very interesting value addition stuff. And similarly, sir, I visited one of the university in Mathura, JL University. There I found very great professor. He's also came from different institute. They are inaugurated. You know what subject they are teaching to their, it's something like value addition. What is India? I was like shocked with the topic. They are saying we are teaching here what is India, because the way and the Western influence and the, as you mentioned correctly, the society we are in now, we are forgetting the culture, the richness of the region. Maybe it's a historic or maybe it's a spiritual knowledge or whatever knowledge we have in our India. It is getting shared in a proper way, very, very less manner. It's not there. That ethical proper criteria is less. It's
No,
not there in the, yeah. Hmm.
in India, what I find is that even though everybody is going to temple or mosque or church, but
Church, yeah.
when it comes to real life, a lot of them are doing very unethical things, which are not according to their scriptures or according to
True. True.
the learnings or teachings of their religion. So I think that they
Right.
have somehow compartmentalized their
Hmm.
religion and their
With
ethics.
respect to their benefits, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
Correct.
I think that compartmentalization has to be broken, and people should know that if I am going to be religious, I have to also have a religiously, permitted behavior. Right. I mean, you cannot
Right.
be
Right.
saying that I am a big bhakt, but I am not.
Yeah.
I am not going to behave like a spiritual person.
Bhakt.
That should not
Yes.
work, and people should understand that doesn't work.
Hmm. Right, right, right. So one last question, sir. Like two last question. I love talking to you, sir, because you are giving me very great, like amazing answers. So one question I have, I did little research about you, and I found that you are religious and you follow some bhakti parameters as well. With respect to me, I don't know that. You can. This
I'm
question is
real.
optional for you. Yeah.
I'm not religious at all. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
my
Okay.
mother is very religious. She likes
Okay.
to go to temple. She does a lot of puja
Ha
and
ha ha.
stuff. And
Ha.
since I don't want to make her unhappy, so I have taken her to uh, CD twice. She has gone thrice. I have taken her there twice. I have taken her to other few other temples and so on. I
Yeah.
personally do not have much religiosity in me,
Okay.
but I do
Okay.
not
Okay.
want to, make her
Hmm.
feel that I am disparaging her or something, or I don't care about her thoughts. Right now,
Okay.
she's kind of old and not so well, so she cannot
Hmm.
go. But
Hmm. Hmm.
that is the extent to which I do things. I
Okay.
have also been uh, many ancient temples. Like last year, I was in Trichy, Tanjavur, and all, and these
Yeah.
temples
Yeah.
were
Huh.
amazing temples.
Right.
But that is more from the architecture, from the
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
the structure of the entire system and all that stuff. So
Right.
yeah, so I'm not that religious.
That's fine. That's fine, sir. So still, I have the same question. I'll continue. So see, uh, with respect, like with my observations, we have two type of different education. What I see, when we grow up little bit in the schooling, we always say we have to read maths, science, English, whatever the language stuff. Then we little grow up like most of the community society. If I'm a religious guy, I follow the Hindu culture. So where we think we should read Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and there's some ancient books as well, stories or maybe the history book, something like that. So, what's your take on learning these books as well as your co-curriculum books as well? So, what is your thought process? Because what I observe, so many people have some different thought process on that, and but we have a limited time. We always think we need to if we read more this commercial knowledge books like say science, maths, programming, AI, and all those things, we're going to get more money, right? But the other same time, we when the what knowledge we feed in into society, if you read more books like Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, you'll get more spiritual and you'll get more calmness. You'll be like a human. So, what's your take? What should we prefer, and what's
So,
your analysis on
as I
this?
said, I had grandmother who read the entire
Yeah,
Mahabharata in Bengali
yeah.
to us when
Oh,
we were
nice.
kids. We had also school curriculum had abridged versions of Ramayana Mahabharata. I have read the Bhagavad Gita. I once got an award for from school, like I by doing well in school. And in that there was
Great.
a whole thing about Bhagavad Gita, so and so on. So I think that
Amazing, sir.
uh, see, I am all for reading everything that comes your
Hmm,
way, right? I mean,
hmm,
you
hmm, hmm.
should read at least Ramayana Mahabharata if you are in Indian, irrespective of whether what religion you those things have actually those things were not written in one day, right? So initial story
Hmm.
was in, like even in Vedas, the original
Yeah,
Mahabharata was only of 100 or so slokas, but then it got over time, it got extended, and new ideas came and all that. And
right.
most of the ideas are about observation about the human values, human lives,
Hmm,
the way humans behave. Like, there is enmity, there is anger, there is patience, there is
right,
honesty, all kinds of things, right? So I
right.
think that not knowing, even I have even read Iliad, Odyssey, abridged versions, but I have
Hmm,
basic idea about the basic structure of those stories, and so on. I also have
nice.
good idea about the basic structure of New Testament and so on. But
Hmm,
uh,
hmm, hmm,
but uh, but I think Ramayana and Mahabharata, if you are an Indian and if you do not know your Ramayana and
hmm.
Mahabharata, that's not very something to be
Yeah,
proud of. First of all,
yeah,
secondly, there
yeah.
are lessons to derive from there. For example,
Hmm,
most characters in life you will probably be able to ascribe his behavior and his nature to one
hmm.
somebody or the other in Mahabharata and so on.
Right.
Mahabharata is more important in my this thing than Ramayana. Gita is
Yeah.
certainly some of the sections, especially chapter 11, where
Huh.
Vishwarup Darshan. I found
Ha
that
ha. Vishwarup
extremely
Darshan.
beautiful
Huh.
poetry, right? So, so that kind of thing are very interesting, and also extends your imagination and so on. You may not believe in it, but it is still quite a bit of
Yeah,
light, imagination.
yeah.
But I think that all these readings will only work if you are also kind of internalizing some of the things. If you
Hmm,
don't internalize, then you are
hmm.
reading it just like a just like a story. But
Hmm.
if you internalize, like some of the questions that Yudhishthir was asked
Hmm.
by Dharm when he was like a crane. He took the
Right.
shape of a crane. Some of these
Yeah.
questions I remember very. I read it when I was in school, but I
Yeah.
found them very very profound. Thoughts, right?
Right.
What is the who is the most uh, happy person in the world, and he says that a person who works all day, comes back home, eats
Yeah.
properly, and then has no debt, he can and
Hmm.
sleep well. So he is the happiest
Yeah.
person. So that
Yeah.
kind of things give you a perspective that in life a lot of things, like there you may have a lot of money, but you may not be able to sleep,
Kid.
right?
Yes.
So I think that
Wo-
that's the kind of thing that you should actually look for in those kind of stories. But you know, uh, being an Indian, I think knowing those stories is it gives you it gives you and also it gives you a lot of handle the abstract. See, when we have to think of a situation or think of a person's behavior, if you have the same knowledge as person you're talking to, that oh, this
Hmm.
person is like Vibhishan. Now, if you don't know
Okay.
what Vibhishan, then you cannot
Yeah.
express that, right? Or this
Correct.
is like
Correct.
this is like Krishna doing this thing to Arjuna and
Yeah.
Duryodhan, that
Yeah.
he cleverly went towards Arjuna and all that stuff. So this kind of cleverness, incorporate the situation, you might compare. But if your other guy
Yeah.
doesn't know what you're talking about, then it doesn't work. Right? So
True.
I
True.
think that
True.
you get
Yeah.
some handle on some abstract concepts that you can then apply. So I think Ramayana
Okay.
Mahabharata is very very important to read, irrespective of your religiosity.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Literally appreciate your time. So again, this is one fun question I have. This is last question, sir. So you have a vast experience. Act as a professor, multiple institutes, and you have so many different students. Just one last question. I hope you watched Three Idiots as well, right, sir?
Yes,
Did you watch three? Yes.
yes,
So did you ever
long time ago.
find the? Sorry, sir. You're saying something?
No, I watched it quite a few years ago.
Haha, okay, okay, cool, cool. No problem. You'll get it easily. So there is a very three interesting characters like Rancho, Raju, and Farhan. So did you ever had some three interesting three idiots as a three students in your journey, sir? As far, yeah.
No, so I think that movie was overdone. I don't think that real real students
Okay.
are that that kind of you know uh, don't care attitude is not there in students. There are
Hmm.
some students who are more mischievous than the others. There are students who would actually be kind of like a slightly a leader among a group,
Hmm.
like this
Yeah.
Rancho or some guy.
Yeah. Uh,
And there will be some nerd guy who is more
yeah.
of a what we call teacher's pet. There
Yeah.
would be some guy who is very good, but he's not expressing how good he is in terms of his exam performance. But when it comes to some innovation and stuff, they do well. So those kind of
Yeah.
things are pretty common. But Three Idiots was overdone. I think I do not like the this author. What was his name? He wrote this. This Three Idiots is based on 5 point something, right? Like this is the
Yeah.
novel. He wrote a number of novels like Two State and all that.
Acha, acha.
I read.
That I think something is Bhagat. I forgot
Yeah.
the name. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's from
Chetan
IIT
Bhagat.
Chetan Bhagat.
Chetan Bhagat.
So he's from
Yeah.
IIT Delhi. Then he
Yeah.
went to IIM. He did job and all this stuff. But his stories are, I think, I found it rather cliche. Like he had another story I read is about call center, right? So that time India had a lot of call centers. Everybody
Ha,
had
ha,
this
ha.
night duties and all that stuff. So it was
Mm-hmm.
about that. Then this
Yeah.
5 point something. Then Two States. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't think he writes
Two
anymore.
states. Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
I haven't seen his writings anymore, but I found that uh, those were rather mediocre, and also maybe it gave people an idea that see, eventually Amir Khan is playing a role where he is totally indifferent to social norms or the institutional norms and so on. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a good good role model, way, right? So I think
Okay.
I am not happy about those things.
Amazing, sir. I was expecting something like this, but thanks for your answer, sir. Amazing.
Yeah. So when I
Thank.
watched that movie many years ago,
Huh. Huh. Huh.
at that time the reason I watched is everybody was talking about it, and when I
Yeah.
watched it, I was a faculty in the US at that time. So but
Aha. Oh.
I even then also I had no idea how IITs work,
Huh.
but
Huh.
even then I didn't like it.
Cool, sir. Cool. Amazing, sir. So thank you so much for your time. It's a
Thank
great,
you.
I must say, like great podcast. And just last advice you would like to give to our audience or to me, or yeah, your last comment, sir. Yeah.
No, so I think that the audience, if there are students in the audience, I would say that irrespective of where you are studying, and who your teachers are and so on, make the best out of it, and learn something worthwhile, learn something
Yeah.
that will be useful in your life, and make use of that instead of trying to make quick money or shortcuts. Eventually you have a long career in front of you. The shortcuts and all will not last very long, so you have to actually work really hard if you want to succeed in life, and shortcuts won't work uh, unless you are extremely lucky. There are some cases it may work, but you have to
Yeah.
be, unusually lucky, which doesn't
Yes.
happen
It
very
doesn't.
common. So I
Yeah.
think that honesty, working hard, learning something, not if not everything that is taught, but there are
Hmm.
certain things you should be good at, and you should be
Yeah.
able to think about, and then think of the larger society in which you are placed. Do not
Hmm,
just think
hmm, hmm,
about yourself, that I will make money. I don't
hmm,
care what others, because eventually you and your children have to live in that society. If that society becomes unequal, friction, a lot of friction, it will
hmm,
endanger you and your children and so on. So your job will be to actually lift the rest of the society with you. Otherwise
hmm, hmm.
you will have to live in a gated community, protected by sentries and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and that's not a good living. So I think you have to lift your community along with yourself, in order to have a good life and have a good future for your kids as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your great sharing your great knowledge and valuable insights, sir. Uh, Thank you so much, guys.